Absolute Geek Podcast.
Welcome to the Absolute Geek Podcast, the only show on the internet that tells them to stop, drop, shut them down, and open up shop.
That tells them to stutter.
Stuttering Steve, Stuttering Stanley, Stuttering
Jimmy
Wilbur.
Smothers.
I'm Matt.
I'm Kellen.
We're back after that holiday hiatus, and hopefully you all listened and enjoyed our plethora of holiday episodes that we released for you.
Big words.
December 23rd, that tied you over until we were back.
Plethora.
That's like, it was like, what, 8 new episodes?
Yeah.
Couple episodes, couple one-shots.
Hopefully some good information in there.
Some good informative stuff. You had comic collecting with our friend Jose. And then
Hosey.
You had
Toy collecting with
Joshua Green. You had Batman versus the Marvel Universe.
With Joshua again.
Our Phoenix Clap, our TV show, animated show that we're trying to pitch, read through.
And then Comic Shop opening and running.
Yeah, and then I Sell Comics with Ken Brown from Drawn to Comics in Glendale, Arizona.
All good fun.
They're all good, really good stuff. You should definitely check them out if you haven't yet. Very informative stuff. So how have you been?
I've been.
You been?
I've been.
How was your holidays?
It was quiet. It was holiday-tastic.
Holiday-tastic.
It was really fucking lame. No, it was all right. It was slow.
Yeah. It's kind of the same way for me at my folks' house this year. It's just my immediate family, and then you do things with relatives like the week after and stuff or before, but that's pretty much it. So
ringing the New Year's, multiple years, because 2015 is actually like 7 storylines running parallel. We are living a fucking comic book. Now ringing the New Year with
a giant party at the Absolute Geek Studios.
Yes,
it was a good time though.
It was an interesting time.
It very was.
It very was.
Kellen and I dominated at beer pong.
Undefeated.
Dominated. We finished 2014 undefeated in beer pong.
Yes.
So
it was a good time.
It was.
Y'all missed out.
You did. We're sorry. Maybe next time. So we're back and ready to fill your ears on a weekly basis again with everything you need to know about the geek world and news.
Sweet geek lovin'.
Sweet geek lovin' in your ears.
Geek news.
Geek news. So speaking of geek news, I guess we can just kick our show off there. Let's see, what new happened this week? We had Gotham come back.
Gotham is back.
It was kind of a slow episode. It wasn't anything spectacular that we've come to know of. The one thing that annoys me about that is like they brought that show back before every other show, and now it's again on 2-week hiatus. So it's like again on hiatus for 2 weeks.
They must just be testing the waters again.
Maybe.
Seeing, I don't know.
Seeing if the hype is still there for it.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the case, if they're testing the waters, that was a terrible episode to test the waters with.
Yeah.
What else? We had
Agent Carter.
Yeah, the 2-hour season premiere of the 8-part miniseries that is Marvel's Agent of Carter. Agent of Carter.
Do you think that them doing like this miniseries, they're gonna start doing this between movies with major characters as like tie-in?
I would hope so. Honestly, like I like Agent Carter more than I like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think Agent Carter, they really learned their lesson from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and they got it right this time. Because, I mean, I wrote a review on it that you can check out on geektonerd.com. But basically, it picks up right where Captain America, the first Avenger, ends. So as he's plummeting into the snow or the ice, he's talking to Peggy on the radio where he's like, I'm not going to make that dance. And then she tells him when to be there. Like, it picks up right, the show starts right there and then goes after that. So, like, you really get to see a lot into it. It's kind of a nice storyline that you don't get, that you get a nice view of Peggy Carter's history and, like, the start of S.H.I.E.L.D. And it's a lot, it's really cool. Like,
Peggy?
Yeah. Basically, what it is in this is, like, Howard Stark is finally being known for making weapons. And he makes all these, like, massive weapons. He makes all these weapons and
his bad babies.
Yeah, he basically he makes weapons that shouldn't be in anybody's hands, and he calls them his bad babies, and he puts them in a vault but the vault gets raided and they start getting sold in the black market.
I don't. Just a little side thing. I don't get why people do that. I want to make these big ass weapons, but no one's ever gonna know about them.
I don't know. It's
like, do you do it just to fucking do it?
Probably. You probably do it thinking that, you know, you're going to make something and then it gets out of control and it becomes bigger than you ever thought it was going to be.
And then your son steps in and just kind of like takes all that modesty and throws it out the window. But he
kind of has... Tony Stark's kind of about to have that same moment, though, with Ultron.
It's true.
So
his humbling moment,
yeah.
Like, I've gone too far.
So we'll see, but... So anyways,
I fucked up!
Howard Stark pretty much, you know...
That was my Tony for you guys.
Propositions Agent Carter to help him clear his name, and you actually get to see Jarvis, and it's kind of cool just to see all like the Marvel characters that they've talked about. Like you see Whiplash's dad in there.
That was one thing that I thought was so weird is in the movies, Jarvis is a fucking AI system integrated into everything Tony Stark has. In Agent Carter, he's this tall, slender, good-looking guy. In the fucking comics, he's this short, fucking pot-bellied, bald, mustached butler. He is nothing that they've ever portrayed him as.
Well, you got to kind of wonder if maybe Jarvis is... He's obviously created by Tony Stark, so maybe they had some kind of relationship, him and Jarvis, and he decided to, you know, create his internet or AI butler to resemble him, and now he's about to turn into Vision, so... But
the thing being, like, it's supposed to be, like, canonical. It's supposed to be canon. So you'd think that Jarvis would be the short, fat, bald, mustached butler.
I don't think it matters.
It's not. It definitely matters when they show him like that in the comics, and then in the show, which is supposed to be direct canon, they're like, huh.
Well, look at Gotham. Like, Alfred was this old dude, and...
That's not direct, though. There's nothing canon about Gotham.
I don't see a problem with it.
I see all the problems with it.
So yeah, Agent Carter is definitely worth checking out. The 2-hour season premiere was really good. I think my review on it was like an 8.5 out of 10, just because it's not a perfect show and it doesn't claim to be. Like, there's moments in it where it's very they take footage that they didn't use in Captain America and use it in Agent Carter, and they splice it together with newly filmed footage, and you can definitely tell because the cuts
are bad. So it's like one looks really clean and one looks like cinematic.
Yeah, and the props are a little too shiny and a little too good looking for that time period.
I like shiny.
You know, all in all, I'd say definitely check it out. It's only 8 parts, but it would be cool if they did things like that, like, you know, kind of an in-between filler between the movies, bridging you. It'll be interesting to see, like, what this leads into, because you know they're going to keep giving you Easter eggs until it's done, so it'll be interesting to see how it leads into, like, and if it leads into Ultron, and if it leads into Ant-Man.
Well, they started with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like, laying the groundwork for upcoming Marvel films. Yeah. Like the Kree. They've introduced the Kree and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. along with the announcement of Inhumans and Infinity War. Like, so it's they're starting to piece stuff together, and they're using that's what it seems like is they're using the shows to bridge the gaps between the comics and the movies.
Yeah, I can see that. That's
so it's
true.
like they show stuff in the comics that lays the groundwork for the movies, but then once the movies come out, it's like, wait, we saw this in the comics, but there's nothing to explain it. So they're kind of using the shows as like the spackle. Yeah,
and one of the funny parts in it is Ralph Garman.
the Marvel television universe. It's spackle.
One of the funny things is if you listen to Hollywood Babylon, Kevin Smith's podcast, you'll know who he is, but Ralph Garman's in it. He plays a radio announcer during the
Ralphie G.
Like, it's the Captain America Power Hour or Captain America Super Show or something like that. So it's like a radio show of Captain America. And the funny part is, like, throughout the episode, like, it cuts into them listening to she'll go into different people's houses, and they'll have the radio on and it'll be playing that show. And the show, they make Peggy Carter to be so weak, like a damsel in distress, and she's just like beating the hell out of all these dudes. She like knocks all these dudes out, and she's like, why does this keep happening?
That's one part that I miss, but does Ralph talk in the, like,
he does
the 30s and 40s era radio talk show host? I don't know why I sound like Stan Lee.
He sure does. True believers.
That's who they should have had do the radio.
Stan Lee.
Yeah. That would have been pretty cool.
If nothing else, you should have watched
True Cap Believers.
If nothing else, you should have tuned in to Agent Carter.
Turned into Agent
Carter. You should have tuned into Agent Carter to see our next topic, the trailer of Disney Marvel's Ant-Man. Paul Rudd. Going to be Ant-Man.
It looks interesting.
It does. Marvel seems to suffer from that first trailer syndrome, though, because
it's just a teaser, though.
Yeah, it's kind of like Guardians. Like the first trailer you saw for Guardians, I was like, okay, I could take or leave this movie, and then you see it, and it blew you away.
Fan fodder.
I think Ant-Man's going to be just a lot like Guardians. You'll see it, and it's just going to straight up blow you away.
I think this would be very good. If anything else, it's at least going to lay more foundation for Avengers.
Yeah.
Future Avenger events.
And so definitely check that out. It's on our Facebook, our Tumblr,
Twitter.
Our Twitter. So there's plenty of places you can go to check that out. The other piece of geek news this week is that they had their first casting in Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, the Ghost in the Shell live action. Got a Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, baby.
It's an interesting cast. I know a lot of people are complaining that, it's an anime, so it needs to be a Japanese.
No, it doesn't.
It needs to be a Japanese casting. The thing is, the reason why, there's an actual term for it. I don't remember the term. But the reason why anime and manga, they look American is because they're not supposed to be a definitive nationality. It's supposed to be whoever's reading it can identify with them.
Well, and I think that's exactly how it should be in the movies. Like, yes, okay, this is coming from a Japanese anime, but it's being made by an American company. It's being produced in America. So it's not a big deal that Scarlett Johansson is playing the lead character. It's not a big deal.
I had a conversation with a friend about this the other day. I think as long as... Because obviously there's going to be a Japanese company that has some inclination towards it, some say in it. Whether it's, I don't remember who produced Ghost in the Shell, whether it's them or some third party that bought the rights or whatever, which as long as the Japanese company oversees it, I think it'll be all right. Because the problem with a lot of anime live action adaptations like Speed Racer and Transformers and Blood is that they lose sight of the source material and they try to fit it within the cultural context. So rather than keep it just a universal type feel, they try to squish it down into this little like thing, and it loses like the depth of the original material. Unless it's Speed Racer, and that's just a shit movie no matter.
I think people just need to relax and realize it's going to be just fine.
Just wait for it.
Yeah,
you're either going to like it or hate it, regardless. It doesn't matter what movie it is.
You might like it or hate it for completely different reasons other than who made it and who's in it.
Yeah.
So.
But Rurouni Kenshin, as long as the live action of Rurouni Kenshin was fucking amazing. If it follows that same path, it'll be fucking fantastic.
But it's still in the early stages, so you never
Do they know who's directing it? Have they announced that?
No, they've just announced that Scarlett Johansson's been assigned.
I wonder who's directing it. If it's Michael Bay, it's bad.
And, J.J.
Abrams honestly would be a really fucking awesome director for that. Like, he's on every fucking sci-fi project right now, but like...
That's because he's a good sci-fi director.
His style would be amazing for that.
Yeah. So there's that, and also they released the first image of the new Walking Dead mid-season poster for the return in February. The new world's going to need Rick Grimes, apparently.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that to come back. What else? They finally gave us announced a release date and a promo poster. It's almost a promo trailer for the new Netflix Daredevil series.
Ooh.
April 10th, 2015 is when it's going to be on. So
exciting.
Look forward to that.
I have been looking forward to that for a while.
And then they announced Uncanny Inhumans. Is another...
so fucking excited.
Is going to be another comic series coming to the already overloaded 2015 comic summer season.
Yes. But this one makes sense as to why they're bringing it out.
Which kicks off next month with Spider-Gwen, the first issue of Spider-Gwen.
Yes.
So I'm super excited for that.
But if you want to know more about Inhumans, I wrote an article. You can read it on geektonerd.com. It explains brief history of the Inhumans, why it's important that they're releasing it, why you should look forward to it. Read it. Enjoy it. I wrote it.
He did write it. I read it.
He read it. I wrote it. He read it.
But so that's pretty much filling you in on everything there is to fill in.
Just about catches you
filling
up.
in every little crevice you have with geek news that came out in the last couple weeks since we've been gone on hiatus. But
Horrifying.
So Kellen and I are big. I don't know how to put this. We watch a lot of Netflix.
Watching a lot of. Well, you watch a lot of Netflix. I watch a select few things on Netflix that I find appealing.
So we're both fans of sci-fi films and TV shows and movies. So Kellen is a big
Cyberpunk.
well,
I love Cyberpunk.
yeah, but he's a big X-Files fan. And I like the X-Files, but I'm more of a Twilight Zone kind of guy. I used to watch Are You Afraid of the Dark on Nickelodeon and Twilight Zone and stuff like that.
Yes.
So we've been hearing a lot about this show on Netflix. It's a British show called Black Mirror. And
It's good.
I want to apologize now because the way we probably describe this probably won't do the show justice.
Well, I thought of a perfect way to describe it to my dad,
What's that?
which is think of an Apple product reveal, like that really pristine, clean, like new technology, really cool type thing. Now place that in the Twilight Zone. It's an Apple product reveal with twists and turns.
Yeah. I can see that, I guess. That's a good way to put it.
It's the best way I can think of it without actually like having to tell people the episodes.
Yeah.
Because each episode it deals with a different form of technology.
Yeah, it's really it's 2 seasons. Well, that they've got the 3rd season written, but it's 2 seasons on Netflix
And a
right
Christmas
now.
special.
Right,
That's
but the
not on
Christmas
Netflix.
Christmas special is
It
not
was a
on
Christmas-
Netflix.
Apparently,
yet.
I still haven't seen it.
I haven't either.
Apparently, it's fucking phenomenal. A lot of people say it's probably the best episode they've made so far.
But it's
got John
literally
Hamm in it.
two seasons, and each season is 3 episodes long.
Yes. Season 2's 4.
No, it's only 3.
Yeah, no, there's 7 episodes. One of the seasons is 4 episodes long. Yeah.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure each
yeah.
one's 3.
Anyway, continue, Matt.
Anyways, like before I was rudely interrupted, the show has no continuity. Like each episode is about a different thing. Like it's not they're not all connected. So each show is about a different thing, and I don't know. I don't want to explain it to like ruin it for people, but
It's technology within the near future. It's not sci-fi as in like we've got like robot servants. Don't think Jetsons. Like this is like maybe 5 or 6 years down the road. Technology is a little bit more advanced, but it's not controlling our lives as of yet. It's like little novelty things that you can see people using, and it's how it controls our lives and how it twists them because they're so dependent on it.
like some of the episodes are really either like really really sad, or really really like just off the wall. Like there's I don't know, how do we talk about this without ruining it for people? Do we just put a spoiler and say if you haven't watched it yet, stop here?
No, I think what we can do is probably just discuss the concepts behind the show without discussing the episodes.
Well, I mean, the first episode would...
What would you guys like to hear? We'll wait.
No, we won't. It's so hard. Like, I don't want to ruin it for people. It's just such a good show. Like, you definitely have to check it out. Like, it's one of those... if you really liked Saw, the first Saw, how there was that big twist at the end, when that dude's been laying there in the floor dead the entire fucking movie, and then he gets up and walks away. And think of that. Black Mirror, almost every episode of Black Mirror has that weird fucking holy shit twist moment, or just creepy twist moment. Like it's kind of got something for everyone. Like it's got like that whole like thriller. Like the first episode's kind of like a thriller with I don't know if I would say. Would you call it a thriller?
It's.
Or would you call it more of a drama? I would say it's more of a drama.
It's got like a Manchurian Candidate type feel, where it's like this type of like espionage drama thriller thing. It's hard to pinpoint.
Like I think we can talk about it without just giving. Like if we don't give away the reveal, I think we'll be all right. Like just give a brief synopsis of the episode.
And the kidnappers give the prime minister an ultimatum.
Basically, he has to either fuck a pig live on the internet and TV, and they give him like specific directions of.
They give him a time to do it, and it has to be uncensored.
And it's got to like they give him like certain camera angles they have to shoot it at, and it's all a bunch of crazy stuff. So
yeah, it's a really crazy look at social media.
It kind of goes
viral.
Exactly, that's exactly it, and it's
that's why I said it.
And it's kind of like, will he do it? Will he not do it? He gonna find a way to get out of it? So definitely
it shows how social media is like the gladiatorial pits of modern day, where they either make you or break you, and if they break you, they really fucking tear you apart.
Yeah, and and then the second episode is more of a. It's more towards like
it's the most sci-fi of them, as in like future like.
It's kind of a mix between like for gamers, and it deals with our obsession of reality TV,
virtual, living vicariously through other means.
Yeah, but I would say a lot like it kind of has that mix where you're living through other means, and then it has that reality TV twist in there too. How we're obsessed with reality TV. But it also goes to show that people today, they don't really have an identity. Like you have your normal identity, but most people are known by like a computer avatar or a video game avatar, things like that. So it kind of deals with like your identity.
Like prime example is PewDiePie.
Right.
People don't call him Felix; they call him PewDiePie.
Right. So it has a lot to do with your identity and how people perceive you, and then mixed in with that.
Use your words, Matt.
Reality TV aspect and vibe. That honestly, episode 2 of the series is by far my favorite.
There's not a single bad episode. There are definitely some that are stronger, and I feel that that it's one of the weaker ones. Just concept wise, I thought it was weaker compared to the rest of them, but it's still definitely strong. Like I said, there's not a bad episode.
Yeah. And then the third one was dealing more with like our obsession to constantly like live in the past.
Reflection on the past.
And constantly like reflect on our lives. And
it's actually so good that Robert Downey Jr. wants to make it into a feature length film.
Well, or at least option to use the technology in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so good.
It fucking floored me when I watched it. It's so fucking good. It's probably my favorite episode. It's definitely one of my favorite episodes.
The first episode of season 2 it kind of deals with grief and like what limits you wouldn't go to see someone you love that passed away again and have them back and brought back from the dead.
It's creepy.
It is super creepy.
It's not creepy as in like, ooh man, this is like really fucking creepy. It's creepy as in like
it could happen.
Yeah, like there's probably somebody working on this technology right now.
I don't know, maybe not as far as like the show goes. I guess you would have to have robots and stuff, but I mean maybe not as far as the show goes, but it's something that like the technology and it's something that could definitely happen.
It's just one of those that you watch and it's like, man, like it's just bizarre.
And then the next episode would be it's hard to say.
Our love of public shaming.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the whole
I wouldn't say our love, I would say society's love of public
shaming. Well, that's what I mean by R.
Because they're gonna be like, you absolute geek guys like to publicly shame.
That's what I mean by R is like, you know, the royal R, editorial. Like just society in general, like with the whole
Lord Royals?
Yes.
Wanna be yeah.
No, like that whole like everybody is willing to witness but never willing to intervene.
Yeah.
Type thing. Like no matter how wrong it is, people like feeding off of it. World Star, for example.
Yeah.
It's fucking World Star. It's World Star in a really good TV format.
Well, like Sharkeisha.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Like, just, yeah, fuck.
It's public shaming is probably the best way to put it, because it's pretty much what it is.
Because it's this girl who's in this dire situation, and no one will help her. They're just filming her with their phones. They won't interact with her or nothing. She's in this like really fucked up situation.
Basically, she wakes up with amnesia, doesn't know who she is, why she's there, and she's being hunted by I can't remember, they call them hunters.
They call them hunters.
Hunters. And then basically all of a sudden you just like people with their phones, and
they're just filming the whole
that
thing.
Could
and
also, I mean, that's kind of also public shaming and your obsession with social media too, because they just film the whole thing and they don't you never see them say anything, and they're trying to kill and torture these people, and she meets this guy and this girl that are like trying to help her get out. And I'm not going to ruin the twist for you because it takes a pretty drastic twist, but it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, the last episode I feel is really good. It's less to do with technology and more to do with self-identity within the technological era.
It to me kind of feels like it has to do with like, you see a lot of these YouTube stars, these overnight success stars that like blow up and then they lose their identity
themselves.
Yeah, they lose their identity. Like PewDiePie again. Yeah. He becomes PewDiePie. He loses his identity as Felix or whatever his name is. Felix. He loses his identity as Felix and now he becomes known as PewDiePie.
Or fucking Joji, Filthy Frank,
or even Fred. Like you don't see him around anymore.
God.
But
honestly, thankful.
His name isn't really Fred. It's just a character he plays, but he's known as Fred. Like it has to do with losing your identity to a character that you create.
Yeah, it's. I think it's one of the more depressing episodes. Through what happens in the show. That episode?
Yeah.
Not necessarily like that it's like, oh man, this is so emotional. But it's like the events that occur to this guy are really, really sad.
Yeah. So it is definitely worth checking out. I know our descriptions, I think we did the best we could.
Yeah, I think
they're pretty spot on.
Look at reviews. Like, the show fucking speaks for itself.
Yeah,
It's got, I believe, a 5-star rating on Netflix.
Yeah, I think so.
It's winning awards left and right. It's fucking amazing.
This is the one time, like, this show is so good, and I respect the hell out of it with the writing and everything from my personal background that I don't want to ruin it. Like, I don't even want to put a blemish on it by giving, like, even saying spoilers and then going through it.
I will be the first to admit that I'm really fucking picky about what I watch and what I enjoy. So when people are like, you need to watch this, I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. And usually I only get through the first few episodes because I'm just like, whatever. I'm not digging it. But Matt was like, you need to watch this, like, fucking right now. So I got home and I watched the first episode and I was like, all right, it's interesting. And then I got through the second one.
Well, I kind of told you the premise of the first episode with like fucking, and you thought it was funny.
I thought it was going to be like a satirical comedy, and I watched it, and it's not at all.
Nope.
And then I watched the second one, and I was like, okay. Like, the concepts were interesting enough that it kept me going. After the third episode, I watched the rest of the series straight through, and each episode's like 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
So it's like I sat there for like 5 or 6 hours watching the show straight through, and I didn't want to fucking stop. I want more of the show.
Yeah, and here's the thing with this show is it starts off kind of, almost every episode starts off kind of slow and bland. Don't be that person that starts watching it and then halfway through, like, you stop. Like, the show, the big payoff in the show is normally in the last 5 to 10 minutes of the show.
Yes.
So definitely stay all the way through to connect the dots, because it's one of those,
like,
it takes one of those
if you like Twilight
twists.
Zone.
Yeah.
If you like Twilight Zone, you'll like this show.
Yeah, it's one of those quick twists that happen at the end, but all of the show connects, and there's not a weak point in the show. So definitely make sure to stay through it. Like, the third episode of season 1, the
entire history of you.
Yeah, the entire history of you. It's kind of a slow starting episode, but it builds, and then the payoff is,
and then it's just this huge,
fantastic.
It's so good.
So
just definitely, if you like drama, watch it. If you like cyberpunk, like what if type technology
it pretty
stories.
much fits every genre. Like it's
Just watch it.
drama, suspense,
Romance.
thrills, romance, sci-fi,
Slasher.
like it fits everything.
It's very diverse. It's very
Horror.
good. It's just, it's safe to say I watched it 2 days ago. I am obsessed with this show. I actually just rewatched it last night with my parents.
I'm waiting for the Christmas episode to come online, on Netflix, and I'm waiting for season 3. But
the only problem is it's been going since 2011 and there's only 6 episodes.
Well, that just shows you the detail they put into each episode.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail because the fucking graphics in it
And the writing,
the
too.
CGI,
Yeah.
is so fucking good.
It's studio quality.
It's beyond studio quality. Like, you look at it and you don't go, "Oh, that's totally fucking computer graphics."
Yeah.
Like, you look at it and it looks.
Like you see that a lot in episode 2 of season 1.
You see it a lot throughout the entire thing. It's just good. It's just good. Watch it. I'm definitely obsessed. I'm super obsessed. And rewatching it last night with my parents, like I said, I started noticing stuff that I hadn't noticed before, particularly in episode 2 of season 1, Matt's favorite. And my dad started pointing stuff out to me too that he was noticing.
Like I binge watched it. I started on episode 1 and went all the way to the last episode of season 2, and then I watched it again after that.
It's
just that good, and like I'll still even throw an episode or 2 on every now and then and watch it.
Again. I'm going to be watching it. I can tell you I'm going to watch it again. Because I'm one of those people that sci-fi done right, like if it's done tastefully, like I love cyberpunk, so Blade Runner and Alien, stuff like that, where yes, technology, like super advanced technology, but it's not shoved down your throat like, ooh, look at our bells and whistles, like Minority Report and stuff like that. I'm like that. That's still Philip K. Dick. That's still cyberpunk, but the way they portray it in the movie is just so technology advanced, like heavy, that it loses. It almost gets in the way of character development.
Yeah.
If it's done where they accent characters, like in this show, the technology. There's no villains. There's no heroes. The only thing that really could be considered the villain is the technology. There's no bad people or anything. It's just the technology shows these people's flaws. So the technology never gets in the way of characters. It helps show the characters. So I think I completely lost fucking train of thought as to where I was going with it. Just watch it. Watch it. I don't know what else to say. Just fucking watch it.
Yeah. It's so good. You know, I definitely believe that it deserves its 5-star.
What I was going on about, like, if technology movies based around technological themes that are done tastefully inspire the shit out of me.
Yeah.
This show, Her,
movie,
like
you
the movie Her, yeah, the movie, Spike Jones.
It's a fantastic movie. It's actually one of my favorites.
Spike Jones, Her, Black Mirror. Stuff like that.
I can't get enough of the face inside of Joaquin Phoenix's forehead.
But movies like that where it's like the technology is there, but it's not so overwhelming it gets in the way. That stuff, I love it, and this show definitely is beautiful.
Well, in this show, it's not like the technology isn't in the way. It's the story.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Technology is the story.
That's what I'm saying. The technology is not in the way. The technology shows the flaws of the characters,
right?
Which pushes it forward.
It kind of shows the flaw in our society and the way we're heading.
The technology is the change agent.
Yeah.
It's not there to be used. It's there to push the story forward
and make a point.
I mean, I guess it is being there to be used, but it's not there as show. It's there as the change agent that is pushing the story.
I kind of get it as like we almost need to step back. Like the show makes you kind of want to step back as a society and look at where we're going and how much like social media is a big part of our lives. Like, you know, everyone has their cell phone in their face constantly. I mean, I've got mine in my face right now.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't do anything anymore. Like there's no privacy in this world anymore. You piss yourself or, you know, let's take the, I know it was on national TV, but let's take the Florida Gators game. You know, was it wide receiver or running back?
Yeah.
He shit himself. Like, there's no better way to put it. He shit himself, and it was on national TV. And within 2 minutes, it was exploded all over the internet. Like, you could go to YouTube and see pictures of it everywhere. It was all over social media. Like,
Or
you
it's-
have no privacy anymore.
Or NFL games.
Yeah.
A bad call is made. A player does something really goofy. Literally 20 seconds, somebody's already screenshotted it, turned it into a meme, and it's up on the internet.
Yeah, like there's absolutely no privacy in this
Poor
world.
Gators.
With people having cell phones and cameras on everything.
I'm a Gators fan, too.
GoPros, like, media's everywhere, you know, and it's just
It's Big Brother.
it is, and you gotta just be, you know, pay more attention to what you're doing.
But yeah, the writing is phenomenal. The concepts for each episode is great. The design and the concept behind the individual technology used in the episodes is fucking great. Everything about this show is just so well put together. It deserves all the accolades it's getting, and I really want more.
Review.
Oh, fucking, like...
10 out of 10?
Yeah.
I give it 10 out of 10.
Easy.
So far, 10 out of 10, no question. 10 out of 10, we'll watch again.
We'll watch again.
So, with that, we turn our show from the lighthearted, funny that we normally have on this show, your free funny and your geek news, and filling you in to something that we kind of, I almost don't want to talk about, but it needs to be talked about. And if anybody who's listening anywhere or at a news, around a newspaper, around the internet, it's almost fucking a pain in the ass to even talk about. Like, it's something that you shouldn't talk about. And that's the events that took place in Paris yesterday.
Today is January 8th. Yesterday, January 7th. In Paris, France, there was an attack by 3 men on the Charlie Hebdo magazine headquarters. It's a satirical magazine. It's known for its extremely forward caricatures of icons, sports stars, politicians, and particular religious figures. They've drawn some harsh criticism from the Islamic community. Back in 2011, they had a caricature of Muhammad in one of their issues, and they were immediately retaliated upon with a firebomb by either Al-Qaeda or Taliban. No one was injured in that majorly. I don't believe anybody was injured, but as of yesterday, January 7th, there was a shooting committed by 3 men. 12 people were killed, including 4 founding members of the newspaper, an editor, and 2 police officers who were outside the office to protect it.
Well, then I heard that they robbed a gas station or a convenience store after that, and another an off-duty officer was killed.
So what happened was they fled the scene. They shouted out Allahu Akbar, which means, you know, God is great in
Arabic.
They fled. They ditched one of their cars, got into a different car with blank plates, took off. They were spotted, I believe, 20 miles outside of Paris. God damn it, Matt.
Oops.
They were spotted 20 miles outside of Paris, and they robbed a convenience store, stole gas, stocked up on supplies, and left. And then in a separate event, another officer was killed by a man dressed similarly in a bulletproof vest. They don't believe that he's tied with this group, but they are opening another terrorist investigation to determine it. But they were last seen in a small farming town outside of Paris. The population is like 300 people, but they were seen walking into the woods in that area. The woods are 56 square miles, so it's a pretty big area for them to hide out in. So they have helicopters out there. They've got search parties. They're looking for these guys. One of the brothers, there was an 18-year-old that turned himself in on the Belgian border. He's the brother-in-law to one of the men.
Well, because he heard that, from what I read, he heard that they were looking for him, that he was a suspect, so he turned himself in.
He saw his name on a social media post that he was a suspect to a shooting at the Charlie Hebdo headquarters, so he turned himself in.
But you don't know if he actually committed it or not.
He's cooperating.
Yeah.
So I really don't think he did anything. Being that he has classmates and a professor that are saying he was in class at the time of the attacks.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he was like 40-something miles away when he turned himself in, which was only a few hours after the event. So these are two brothers who committed this awful act, and it's really sad that it's happening. Like, there's been a lot of this stuff this past year. But
I mean,
to target, like, we're comic book readers. Like, we love cartoonists and illustrators, and the fact that they targeted these men for their art,
and that's kind of like what you look at. Like, we just what holiday we just had? We just had New Year's. 2014 was a terrible year for that stuff. It was just a terrible year, and everyone kind of looked at 2015 as a reset. Every new year you get a reset. They always say January 1st is the first blank page of a 365-page book, and it's yours to make whatever you want. And it's terrible when something like this happens. And at this time, it's attacking your right to free speech and your freedom of expression, and that's not something that's okay. And I absolutely love the support I'm seeing for the artists. You're seeing pencils everywhere. You're seeing cartoons, everywhere. You're seeing
people worldwide. Artists everywhere.
And it's not, a lot of people will say, oh, it was in Paris. I live in America, or I live, in England, and it doesn't affect me, or wherever you live. And it does affect you, because this is an act of terror against a principal right. You have the right to freedom of expression. You have the right to have a voice and have it be heard. And, we here in America, we abuse that right because it's a right we have every day. And some of these other countries out there don't have that right. They don't have the same rights and freedoms we do. And they have to find other outlets to be heard. And some of them are more underground, and some of them are, there's a lot of people out there that are probably risking their lives to have their voice heard and risking their lives to express themselves. So our hearts definitely go out to the 12 people that lost their lives and their families. And, no matter what, nobody should infringe on your right for free speech, and nobody should infringe on your right to express yourself and your freedom of expression.
Yeah, but don't retaliate, because this is, Matt and I were talking about this, and the sad fact is that this is a small splinter group. These extremists are a small splinter group of something bigger, but as Matt stated, it's one bad grape that ruins the bunch.
Yeah, don't stereotype all, unfortunately, Muslim people as being terrorists or bad people, because there's a lot of them that are really good people that are just here and, all around the world. They're good people, and they don't, they hear this and they're like, oh, no, here we go again, And it's kind of like, you kind of look at it as, I don't want to call it racism, but
it's prejudice.
You become prejudiced against a certain group of people because that's the stereotype in the media spins it.
It's a generalization.
To look at that type of people and to typecast that type of person. Yeah. And it shouldn't be like that. Like, the greatest thing, like I told Kellen earlier, the greatest thing I saw last year was in Australia when all that stuff went down, and
when they held the cafe up.
Yeah.
Or when the one man held the cafe up.
Right. And they had the I'll still ride, or I'll ride with you, or I'll sit next to you movement. And that was fantastic, and I think we need to see something come out of this. Like, it can't be ignored, but it can't be overexploded. This, like I said, this is the only time we're going to talk about it, because I feel that with what we do and the fact that we have the right to say what we want on this podcast and do what we want on this podcast is a tremendous right that I would never want to lose and that I will fight for. But I'm not here to give these people press. I'm not here to give these people like any more attention than they deserve. Like that, like this is the end. Like, I will not talk about this conversation again.
Yeah,
because these people do not. These two guys and the ISIS terrorist organization, all these organizations don't deserve what we give them by putting them in the spotlight.
True. I don't know what to say to that. It's true. That's all it is. This isn't about them. This is about the victims and the people that are standing for what these terrorists are trying to take.
So to end the show, I think instead of our normal outro and everything, we're going to just let it go with a moment of silence for the 12 people that lost their lives yesterday. And we want to just tell you that your families are in our thoughts. Yeah. And
we ask that you know, if you have a Twitter or Facebook or whatever, use the hashtag Charlie Hebdo and post Je suis Charlie, because people are definitely looking at that.
So we want to thank you for listening. And remember to like and subscribe.
It's an awkward place to put that.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of an awkward thing to finish it up with, though, too.
Yeah.
But again, we will see you next week.